Lunges. They're one of the most powerful longevity exercises. Simple, effective in building lower body strength, improving balance and supporting joint health. Hello again, welcome to the Live Long podcast and the third in our series, Move for Life, exploring lifestyle interventions designed to make us stronger, more agile and vibrant as we grow older.
Lunges actually begin to isolate a certain part of the lower body. As an example, if you're doing front lunges, then you're more apt to focus on the quadricep. If you are doing back lunges, and incidentally, Peter, I love the back lunge more than the front lunge, because the back lunge, I'm able to find the work in my hamstrings and my glutes, and I need that. So some people prefer front lunges more, but I think it begins to form the body, and it also helps the quad and the knee and the calf working together. So I think those are the benefits of a lunge. But again, it's all about building that lower body.
Right, and lunges imitate gait. Whether you can do a smaller lunge, if you have issues, or you do a larger lunge, they imitate gait stance, again, which is optimal aging, okay? That movement forward and backward on different planes is good. You can do side lunges that gives you on the sagittal plane. So you're moving all over. With squats, you're basically stationary and you're aligned, whether your feet are turned externally, internally. But the lunge is actually a gait, and it trains the muscles differently than a squat. All the muscles are used, but it trains them in a different way. So you want to be sure to train the muscles all the way around. Muscles are not flat. So that training needs to happen so you develop the muscle fully.
And how do lunges help us with our posture?
Oh, all of it helps with the posture. You should be cognizant of your posture on all exercises, because better posture reduces the incidence of chronic pain. And sometimes, based on what we've seen in data, is it also reduces disease. So, good posture is critical, but the lunges do that because you're moving forward. Again, forward, thinking about holding your chest up. Individuals a lot of times do lunges with a hinged back, and so their back is rounded. What you want to do is build that lower abdominal strength. Pelvic floor, you hear a lot about now. It helps with the pelvic floor, the strength in the legs, the dynamic strength, because you're moving back and forth. So there's dynamic strength there as well. If you do a stationary lunge, then you have a different angle that you're hitting the lunges with. So all of those are good.
But what's interesting about this conversation is that nowadays you see people playing a pickleball, or example, and they haven't trained, and so they find themselves getting injured because they have to make these fast movements. So if you are practicing lunges, that'll allow you to make better moves when you're playing paddleball or padel.
Yeah, just because you play tennis doesn't mean you can play padel. And that's where we find a lot of breakdown is with individuals who don't realize that they need to train. So, for example, we see people go to a Zumba class and then they're hurt. Well, Zumba are dancers, and dancers train. So you have to do multifunction movements, back to the ageless workout method, multifunction movements. What we believe is our program will have you strong enough to go into any modality, a bar class, or lift weights in the gym, or go whitewater rafting, and you will have that basic core strength and that fluidity in your muscles, and then all you have to do is focus on the technique.
And one of the crucial outcomes from doing this form of exercise is our overall balance. And you really can't overstate, can you, how important balance is as we get older?
You really can't, and that relates to proprioception. So proprioception is a concept where you know where your body is in space. Can you close your eyes and have your two fingers go together? And watch me miss, see that? So, and that is a critical part of working out and movement and exercise that you have to work on every single day. But balance, everyone needs to work on balance. So if I go to a class where I'm teaching and their age range is 20 to 70, and I can do that very well, You put a little balance in there, it evens the score. Balance is critical to avoid slips and falls, which is a very hot topic these days. Slips and falls. What do we do to avoid slips and falls, right?
So in a lunge, as an example, you find sometimes people try to rush through a lunge, and you see them stumbling because they haven't placed their feet or their bodies, their posture in the proper place. So a lunge will force you to work on your balance and pay attention to where your body is in space.
Technique, technique, technique.
And lunges can be modified, can't they, according to someone's initial fitness level?
Oh, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. There's forward lunges, backward lunges, side lunges. You can do a mini lunge, curtsy lunges. You can do a mini lunge, but ever so important because they cross-train the body. You know, if you do a curtsy lunge where your body is twisting, you're training the body from here to here. You know, that brings up a good point. Let me digress for a second. You know, lifting weights in the gym is one thing, but that's very stable against a stable surface. Okay. We also need movement where we're twisting and turning the body because the body is on a 360-degree axis. So you have to be able to move it. You'll see those bodybuilders, they're really strong and their muscles are really big, but do they have mobility? You know, and that's really what you're looking for, the mobility, flexibility, continued motion, right?
Absolutely. I mean, that's what we're talking about in terms of pro-aging and longevity. Now, some people would say they don't need that or they don't want to do that, but I think if you want to have a long and lasting life, you got to be able to turn. You got to be able to make pivots quickly. It's, again, going back to that athlete in you.
And like squats, the beauty of lunges is that we can do them anywhere.
Yeah, yes, you can. Typically, if we travel, I do my exercise if we have an early flight in the airport. It doesn't bother me, but you can do them anywhere. You can do a wall sit anywhere, which is a very popular exercise that engages isometrics and posture because you have to sit up and how long can you hold that, and then your legs start to shake. But I think doing lunges and squats are critical lower body exercises that directly relate to your movement and your ADLs and your ability to stay independent.
You get support for the knee, you get the quadricep, you get the calf, as well as the ankle. It's because when you do a lunge, you want to plant your feet solid to make sure that you, again, going back to balance, to make sure that you're down, that your feet is solid on the ground and you can hold your ground.
And again, talking of, as you did, exercising at the airport as part of a journey, I think part of the mindset and why it's important is that we should think of exercise as literally part of our everyday lives. It isn't just going to the studio, it isn't just going to the gym, and it's the value of grabbing those few minutes as you're traveling to do some lunges or to do some squats, whatever it is, just to move the body.
Some personal time is always good, and it's good for the mind. It's good to relax and get into it and reset. It works as a reset. Around here we get up at 4 o'clock, and typically we're in the gym at 5, and then we're off to teach, train, and perhaps do a podcast. But we find that kind of centralizes us, to get our day going, reducing the endorphins. As you get older, you can get a little foggy, your mind can get a little foggy, and your movements are a little slower. But the movement of exercise, right there in the airport, you do 10, 15 while you're waiting for your flight. We all have to be there terribly early. The flight is long. The critical thing is I do it also because you're sitting for a long time. If you're traveling on a plane over 3 hours, that is a long time. Whether you're in first class or a coach, it's still a long time, and you need that movement before to get up and walk around. Typically on a flight, I walk around. On a 4-hour flight, I'm walking around every hour.
A program we call Train to Travel.
Train to Travel, yes.
And so lunges would be a part of that Train to Travel program.
Yes. Lunges, squats, getting in and out of that seat, putting a suitcase up.
The Live Long podcast is a HealthSpan media production. I'm Peter Bowes. You can contact me through our website, livelongpodcast.com, where you'll also find show notes for this episode.
This podcast is for informational, educational and entertainment purposes only. We do not offer medical advice. If you have health concerns of any kind, or you are considering adopting a new diet or exercise regime, you should first consult your doctor.